Welcome in, everybody. I hope you're doing well today and ready for this mindful movement session. As always with this session and any session we do, make sure you do it to the best of your ability. If that means you need to take any rests or breaks or whatever it may be at any point during the session, feel free to do so. If you need to take any extra adjustments as well to make this more suitable for you, then also go ahead and do that. I will be providing it some adaptations to the best of my ability, but sometimes it requires a little bit from you as well to make these movements work. With that out of the way, let's start to settle into this session and relax down to start with by doing some nice deep breathing, going in through the nose, out through the mouth, and continue that there. And some point over the next couple of breaths, let's close down those eyes, focus on that breathing, and bring that focus inwards. So just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. A nice, calm, relaxing breath. And focus on that breathing. Notice how it feels when your lungs inflate. It almost forces you into a good posture as you do so. As you breathe out, notice how your shoulders relax down. Also with the breathing, notice how it feels when the oxygen, the air comes in, how you feel within your body as it sort of starts to go around it. And as you breathe out, just notice that wave of relaxation that comes over you as well. Keep that breathing going, but as we're in a bit more relaxed state, let's start here with thanking ourselves for being here today. As we always say with these sessions at the beginning, often the hardest part is turning up in the first place, especially for us in our various situations that we are in. Often turning up is the hard part. But now we are here together. Let's make sure that over the next hour together we are focused on the various breathing, movement, stretches, positions that we will be achieving today. And that means that thoughts will probably come into our mind as we go through the session, and it will probably wander, but that's absolutely fine. The main thing is that when our mind does wander, we just bring it back in line, focus on the thing that we're doing in that moment, and try and keep that mindfulness as much as we can through this next hour. Keep the breathing going, in through the nose, out through the mouth. But if you're not already, sit up nice and tall. Keep the eyes closed still. And as you're doing it here, I want you to almost feel like you've got a rope going through the top of your head. When you breathe in, it pulls you up, so your spine elongates. And as you breathe out, it sort of slacks down. You can relax a little bit. So breathe in, sit up tall, feel like you're being stretched through the top of the head. Spine's elongated, and as you breathe out, it relaxes down. Okay, keep that breathing going. Open up our eyes. We are going to slightly change the order of things today as we normally do. We're going to go straight into our neck mobility to begin with. So keep the breathing going as you were, but let's go into some flexion and extension, looking up and down here to begin with. So just looking up, looking down. Nice gentle movements. And as we're doing this, keep the breathing going like we started here today. But also I want you to almost visualize within your mind's eye what your vertebrae are doing in your neck as you're doing this. I really want you to be aware of how you feel they are mobilizing. If you need help with that visualization, imagine those skeletons we get in a classroom or in a chiropractor's office. And you can just imagine how it's mobilizing and kind of picture that within your own body. And just visualize that as you look up and down. Doing that literally is mindful movement. We're being mindful of how we're moving by focusing on how we're actually performing it, how the body's going through those motions, rather than just going through the motion without any thought. Next time we look down, let's hold that position and just let gravity take over a little bit here. And we can breathe into it a little bit here. Just breathe in, and as you breathe out, just let that head sink down maybe a little bit more. Just relaxing into it. In this position as well, with the chin tucked in, we can just sort of rock our head side to side slightly. If you want to increase that stretch a little bit further. Let's ease out of that now. Start going back into looking up and down again. Just for a couple here to ease out of it. And then the next time you find yourself looking up, let's hold that position. As always with this, we can take it a little bit further. We can keep the mouth closed for a start. But if you want to take it a little bit further, come back to looking forwards. Place the hand just above the sternum. Keep the mouth closed, and then from there, look up. You feel a stretch through the front of the neck when you get it right. And then from here, we can also just rock side to side. Feel the stretch a little bit more intense on one side and the other as you do so. Be careful with this though, don't push it too far, just nice, easy, relaxed movements. to ease out of that there, going into looking up and down again, just to ease out of it. And then let's go into our next one here with the rotation, where we look one side, and then we look the other side, back and forth between the two, nice controlled movements. So just nice, simple, left and right. Good. The next time you find yourself looking to the left, let's hold that position there. Again, if you want to take it further, start by looking forwards, hand on the right collarbone, and then rotate round to the left. So the right hand sort of sits roughly on top of the collarbone there. I like to just put my thumb there. It's just easier with my lacquer hand grip. And then I rotate round to the left, and I feel a stretch from almost where that hand is planted up to the jaw. And then from there we can take it a little bit further again. We can just look up and down whilst you're in that rotated position. Good, alright, let's rotate again back to left and right. Just for a few here. And next time you find yourself looking to the right, let's hold that position there. Again, that might be enough for some of you. If you want to take it further though, you start by looking forwards, put the right hand on the left collarbone, rotate around to the right, and you'll feel a bit more of a stretch there on this one. And then from there as well, you can take it further by looking up and down in that position. You'll probably feel even more of a stretch in the looking up position from here. And let's ease out of it, going into some rotations. Bless me. Yes, that was a sneeze. Looking left and right. Excellent. Well, let's go into some lateral flexion now. We bring one ear to one shoulder, one ear to the other shoulder, going back and forth between the two. Good movement, everybody. Just easing it from one side to the other. Nothing too crazy. Just nice, gentle movements. And the next time we find our left ear on our left shoulder, let's hold that position. We'll take our right arm, we'll drop it down, and we'll feel a bit of a stretch between that right ear and the right shoulder. See if it stretch down this side here as the arm's down. You can put the hand behind you as well if you prefer that. And then in this position, we can take a little bit further again, and we just rock the head back and forth in that position. So keep the left ear over towards the left shoulder, and the right arm down, and then we just rock the head back and forth, and you'll feel that stretch slightly change the position. So as you sort of look back, it kind of comes underneath more into the front of the neck, and as you go forwards, it sort of shifts around into the back of the neck. Just ease out of it there, going back into left and rights again. And the next time you find your right ear towards your right shoulder, let's hold that position. If you want to take it further, drop the hand down or behind you. And then again, if you want to, you can rock in that position as well. And if you are doing the rock one, try and feel where the stretch is, especially towards the top. You can feel it, like the stretch point go between the jaw, underneath the ear, to the sort of back behind the ear, and sort of rock back and forth between the two. So you can feel in real time where that stretch is going to. And again, it's all part of that mindful movement, not just going through the movements, but being aware of it. Noticing what it's doing to our body, noticing the impact of it. Good, let's ease out of that there. Do a couple of lefts and rights to do so. Excellent work, and let's go through the rest of our spine now. So we'll start with some flexion extension. So extend through and curl over. I'm going to turn to the side. If you're okay with that, continue onwards. But for those who need more instruction, it's just curling forwards like a shrimp, and then arching back like a high jumper, and then going back and forth between the two. I'm using my hands on my wheelchair frame to help pull me through, and I use my legs almost to help curl me over. However, if you can't get your hands in that position or your body in that position, we can use our hands on our lap. We just push up, use the backrest to sit up tall and almost curl backwards a bit, or arch backwards a bit, and then we can also curl forwards with our hands on our lap. Just using what you've got there to make it easier for yourself to get into these positions. And it's all just about flowing nicely between the two. Don't worry too much about how much range of motion you're doing. Just get some range of motion. Which means you'll be flowing nicely between the two. And again, be mindful of these movements as you're going through. Notice how your spine feels. Notice what it feels like, and imagine what it is on like the skeleton model that we thought about earlier. Imagine this spine moving, the vertebrae all doing their job. Good work. We're going to go into some rotation next. So we just ease out of that and then we'll ease into rotating one side, around to the other, and back and forth between the two. I'm using my hands on my lap and the wheel as well, but you feel free to use whatever you've got available to you if you need to, just to help rotate that round. It just makes things just a little bit easier to do so when we use the assistance to help pull ourselves around. Don't force it too much either, just go to where you feel resistance if you can't feel this area, and then bring it back round again. Good work. Let's go into lateral flexion next, bending down to one side, bending down to the other, making sure we're not leaning forwards as we're bending down. We want to make sure that we're staying with almost like a pane of glass in front and behind you, and you're slipping down in between the two. And again, with this and with all the spinal movements, it's not about how far you go with your range of motion. It's just about getting the motion in, being aware of it as you're doing it, noticing how it feels, noticing how your body's reacting to it. Good, and let's go into a whirlpool, round in a circle. And change direction. And then ease out of it there. Let's give ourselves a little shake off as we do so, and we're going to go into a hydration break here. So grab yourself a drink, and then we'll move into the next bit soon enough. So I just wanted to change up the order today because those movements are more suitable than some of the other movements we do if you are like a quadriplegic and you can't raise your arms above your head and that. So I wanted to change the order because we've had a few more people join with a few varying disabilities or ability levels, and it means that they, for some of them they can flow through that full first 30 minutes of the session, and then if they can't do the other bits then they can stop there as such. So it's kind of just rearranging it Also, it's quite nice to change things up as well for us too sometimes and keep things different. So it doesn't really change anything for everybody who does the session fully as normal, but it just adds some variation in for you and can make it so that some people can enjoy at least a full half an hour without having to use their arms and that as well. Talk about arms, that's what we're going to be starting to introduce now, and we'll go through some shoulder work, and we'll just start again with just some nice breathing, going in through the nose, out through the mouth, and continue that breathing there. And we'll continue for a little bit just in case anybody's still having their drink, they can join in where they're ready to. Just nice deep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as you're doing it, let's just do some shoulder rotations around, just nice easy circles around. Doesn't matter which direction you go, just going round nice and easy. If you're not already, let's build up the size of those circles with the shoulders so you can get a little bit bigger, going through a little bit more range of motion. Let's change direction. Okay, the opposite way to whichever one you're doing now. Nice work. Okay, keep the breathing going. Let's go into our shrugs now, where we breathe in, shrug the shoulders up, give them a squeeze. As we breathe out, relax it down. Good work. Let's go into the same, but instead of going up and down, we'll go forwards and back. So squeeze those shoulder blades behind you and then push those shoulders forwards. Again, going back and forth between the two, squeeze and push forwards. Let's just go into some shoulder rotations again outside of that. And then we bring our hands up to the shoulders and we can bring those elbows going around in a circle. Now this can be small little circles, it can be medium circles, it can be big circles, they can be whatever size you can do here. Also, we can do this alternating arms if you need to, or if you can only do one side, or if you can only do one side at a time, you can do a couple on one and a couple on the other. As long as we're sort of just getting those elbows going around, the hands don't have to lock in position either, they can sort of glide around that area. We're just mobilizing that shoulder joint just a little bit more than when we do the rotations around with just the shoulders. Let's change direction. Again, we can do double arm, alternating, or just one arm, whichever works for you here. Good work. Okay, for this next one here, we're going to bring our hands together in a prayer position. We're going to reach up the best we can, up, out, and around. Now for this, if you can't bring the arms all the way up, just bring it to where you can. But doing the best you can to keep those hands together, raise them up the best you can, out, around, and back. And again, I want you to be a little mindful with this movement as well, and I want you to just be aware of where your hands are throughout the movement. Try and get as much range of motion as you can as well, so as you come especially out and around, try and really stretch the biggest circle you can around with those arms and back round. If you need to do this single arm as well, you can do that, so you just do the one arm up and around. Keep that going, but as you're doing it, I want you to introduce the breathing. So I don't mind which order you do it in, whether you breathe in or out as you put the hands out, up, and then in or out as you bring them round. Just start linking that breathing in with whatever feels natural to you. For me, it feels more natural to breathe in as I bring those arms up and breathe out as I go around, but you may find the opposite is true for you, so just go with whatever feels normal here. Just big circles around as you come down. You'll feel that stretch through the chest, through the upper arms, maybe even through the elbows and the forearms a little bit as well, especially if you really try and reach out with the hands and the fingertips. Good work. Let's reverse that now. So we're going to start from the bottom. We come out and around, big circle, hands together, down through the middle. Just get the flow of it first, and then you can link the breathing in once you've got the movement down. Again, just go with what feels natural, but as long as we're focusing on two things here: nice deep breathing, linking it in with the motion, and getting the best range of motion that we can for this mobility. So breathing and movement, they're the focuses here. And again, like the previous one, don't worry about how much you can get those arms up. Do it the best of your ability. If that means you're coming in around about head height, that is not a problem, if that's what you can do. Good work. On this next one, we're going to go bring our hands up to around about chest or shoulder height. We're going to push one hand forwards, bringing it back in, and then the other hand forwards, and going back and forth between the two there. Breathe out as you push out, breathe in as you pull it in, and think about one fluid motion. So it's not an out and in. No, it's not an out then in, it's an out and in. So it's just one fluid motion. And link the breathing in with that fluid motion. So breathe out, breathe in. And if you feel like you want deeper, longer breaths on this, just slow the hands down as you're doing it. So the movement speed is based on your breath, not the other way around. So just flow through it here. Slow it down if you need to. Sometimes when we're going through movement and mobility, we can kind of just want to get into a rhythm. Our body's very good at and natural at doing that. But sometimes we just need to make sure that we're in control of the movements and we're breathing, slowing it down, especially during these things where we need to, again, gotta say it, mindful of our movements as we're doing it. Good. We're going to extend that a little bit more now. So as you reach forwards, we're going to lean into it and then bring it back in line. Over to the other side, leaning into it, reaching that arm forward the best we can and bringing it back in. As you may see as well, I'm using the other arm just to support myself as I lean forwards, and I'm actually just pushing off that as I'm coming back up in line. I'm not trying to make this a core exercise. Here I'm trying to reach, mobilize, maybe stretch a little bit as we reach forwards too. And those are the focuses there. Some of you may be able to just reach forwards and back without having to do that anyway. And that is fine if you can do that, but don't feel like it's a necessity. Good work, everybody. And let's extend that a little bit more. So reaching forwards, and then on the way back, we come up and over to the best of your ability and down behind us. Now the best of our ability may look like what I just did there, or it might be that we bring it so a little bit more diagonally up to the side, or even just around. Bring that arm up to wherever you can get to, and down. And one more on each side. Yeah, we're going to bring those hands back in to the middle. I'm going to go out to one side, bring it in, out to the other side, and bring it in. One fluid motion, out and in. Breathing into it. Breathe out as you push out. Breathe in as you pull in. And the breathing is one part that helps us with this mindfulness here, because what we're doing is we're focusing on how the arm movement links in with the breathing. And that really helps us just to slow things down within our mind, focus on the movement, focus how it links with other parts of our body. Often I think that mindfulness and that is overcomplicated. It means like you need to be, sat cross-legged on top of a mountain, trying to reach enlightenment. But sometimes it's just literally just thinking about your breathing and moving with it. And that's all we need to do to be aware of the movement that we are doing in this moment. And the reason we want to achieve that is that our mind is very good at focusing on things, and often it's things that we don't want to be focused on in that moment. The reason we do this is because we're focused on something that's relaxing, takes us away from stressful situations, triggers, all those kind of things, and just makes us just focus on nice, simple breathing and mobility. That lowers blood pressure, that lowers our heart rate, it lowers stress, it relaxes us, it calms us. And the more frequently we are able to do that in our life, and the more ability we have to quickly get into a more relaxed state, the more we can handle situations that are less than ideal or that require just a little bit more focus and a little bit more attention. And we can just use these skills throughout our day, and you'll probably do it without even thinking about it, because you'll just be better at going into that much more relaxed state. So just the simple act of just breathing along with the movements that we do on these ones here just helps us to train that, essentially. Just like any other sort of muscle or movement, cardio, whatever it means, the more we do it, the better we naturally get at it without even realizing. And let's extend it a little bit more. So as we reach out to the side, you can use the opposite hand to hold on. You can reach out and then bring it in. Good work, everybody. Just flowing between one and the other. Breathe out as you push out. Breathe in as you pull in. One fluid movement. And let's extend that a little bit more. So reach out to the side. As you come back, go up and over the top and down to the other side. Reach across, up and over, and down to the other side. Just keep repeating through that there. Good work, everybody. Excellent. Let's bring that one up and over and relax down there. We'll just do some shoulder rotations here. Change direction. Good work. Okay, we're just going to do a little bit of stretching before we go into the final part of today's session. To start with, we're going to stretch the big muscles on our back, the lats, and to do that we reach over to one side, hold it for 3 to 5 seconds, then down and over to the other side. And just going back and forth in your own time. 3 to 5 seconds. If you can't bring the arm up and over like so, just bring it as high as you can if that's sort of just more in front of you. I still recommend sort of leaning over as you do so. But try and get that arm up to where you can, just stretching out those big upper middle back muscles in the lats. Good work. We go through our chest and our upper back here. So to do that, we stretch by bringing those hands behind us, and we reach one arm forwards, push it forwards within the shoulder joint, and then bring it back, and then reach the other hand forwards. Really try and feel that stretch, especially on the chest part here as we bring those arms behind us. Good work, and then we're going to go into our rotator cuff now. So either having the elbows up, rotating up and down, or having the elbows tucked into the side and rotating in and out, whichever one works best for yourself. If you're able to do both, I recommend elbows up if you can. You just get a little bit more range of motion, I find, with this way. Good, well, let's just go into some shoulder rotations again. You can mix it up, wiggle it around in however you want to wiggle. And we will go into our last little bit here of mindfulness. So let's grab a drink before we do so. We've got time, so just make sure that we are well hydrated. And then when you're ready to close down the eyes, bring that focus inwards and just do some nice deep breathing to begin with, just to calm ourselves down, bring ourselves back into into where we are here. So just deep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, relax it down. Good. We're going to go through our body scan today. That's where we start at the top of our head, go to the tip of our toes, check in with each part of our body, see how it is, see how it feels. Not trying to fix anything, we're just trying to observe. Maybe put some reasoning to behind why we may feel those certain ways in certain areas, and then we'll move on. If you need to move or wiggle or whatever it may be, the movement of the area or muscle or that we're focusing on, then feel free to do so. This is your way to analyze your body. I'm just here to help you go through this. We'll start at the top of our head in our crown to begin with, and we'll just put some focus and energy in there. And again, this is an area that is less sensitive than others. There's less nerve endings on the top of our head, so we probably can't get too much ascertained from there, but we can still put the focus on there, see what comes back to us. And let's start going down now into our forehead and eyes area, and I like to just give them all a wiggle and just see how it feels within the eyes and the forehead, and just noticing how it is. And this can often help us determine whether we're getting enough sleep from how the eyes feel, or even things like how dry the temperature is, how humid it is, air conditioning, those sort of things. We can sort of determine it through how our eyes feel, whether they feel dry, whether they feel tired, but we can just sort of get an understanding of how it is today. Let's go down now into our mouth and our jaw. And we can just see how this feels. Okay, well, let's go around now to the top of our neck, where it reaches the skull. And we're just going to go down, and just like we did earlier, focusing on those vertebrae, I want you to imagine each bone in your neck there, and you're just focusing on it, going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. That's just focusing on each one of those vertebrae. We're at the base of the neck now, and then we're going to go out towards the shoulders here. So just thinking about the shoulders, move them around if you want to. We've done a lot of mobility in these today, stretching and mobility, so they're probably feeling quite loose. They might be feeling quite tired as well, and that's pretty normal for how they feel today. Go down through our arms into our elbows. Not too much elbow work today, just a little bit in there with some of the movements we were doing. But just seeing how that feels. Let's just give it a little bit of movement in the elbow so I can see how it feels. Down now through our forearms into our wrists, and we can give some mobility in there just to see how it feels, how it's moving, how it's mobilizing, and noticing it there. Down through our hands into our fingers, and again we can give our fingers a little wiggle to ascertain how they're feeling. If it's fine, that's good. We're just getting a baseline of how our body is. Let's bring that focus up through our fingers, forearms, arms, shoulders, and into our spine again. Starting from the base of the neck this time, we're going to go down through the vertebrae, again wiggling it as we go down all the way through into our hips. This is an area that I can't feel, and it may be the same for you. Doesn't matter, we just put the focus, attention, energy down there and see what we get back from it. Then we go down through the legs, those upper legs, into our knees. Again, we can give them a wiggle, or if we can with our arms to assist, just to see how things are. Get the focus, get the energy down there, and then move down now through our lower legs into our ankles, our feet, and our toes. Feel free to wiggle this area if you can. If not, just put the attention down there. And whilst we're down there, we're going to do 3 deep breaths together. We'll start from the tip of our toes, we go to the top of our head, imagining we're filling our body with a bright white light as we do so, so it's almost filling you up, almost like a battery charging all the way up to the top. And then as you breathe out, you just relax it out, and then we repeat it 2 more times. So all together, we'll breathe out to start with, and then a big breath in. Release that breath. 2 more, breathing in. Release the breath. Last one, breathing in. And release the breath. And let's keep the eyes closed there as we thank ourselves for being here today. Whether you want us to give yourself a round of applause, pat on the back, whatever it is, but just thank ourselves for being here, being focused and mindful on today's session, and to take some of these skills that we learn, especially in terms of stress management, relaxation, and we can take that into our regular life. Let's start to open up our eyes, bring ourselves back to the room as we are done there for today's session. Excellent work as always, everybody. Good movement, good breathing, and although I can't see into your mind, probably good mindfulness. But thanks again for joining me.